Hello, and welcome to another episode of Canadian Stacking. I thought I'd take a trip to the Ottawa River National Park. Usually I go up here, but this particular channel in the Ottawa River is called Lost of Lost. And it flows down this kind of creeky area here. And our water level is so high right now that, well, it's running. And, you know, I wanted to talk to you about a few things. One being Zimbabwe backing their currency with gold and the purchase of $20 billion worth in gold for their money to back it, well, currency to back it up. And the fact that they're going to be switching over to a digital currency, which will be 100% backed by gold. I don't know what I think about token technology. You know, I'm not sure if I fully agree with it or not in any way. You know, like there might be a way to back gold to a digital currency that is 100% audited, where every coin that's in the building at whatever amount it's supposed to be, let's say it's 1/100th of an ounce of gold to back one digital token, it needs to be audited. There needs to be a way to have that proven. You know, unlike the Federal Reserve, which hasn't audited Fort Knox since the 60s, if there was ever to be a digital gold-backed currency, it would have to be audited. And it would have to be audited probably yearly, or whenever assets are added or removed. They'd have to audit the removal. It would have to be a second party involved, not just governmentally done, in order to get that that needed assurance to prove to us that it's there. Because otherwise we could wind up to what happened to the United States in the 60s, where they said they had the gold, and the French there under Charles de Gaulle said, we want to repatriate our gold, so start giving us our gold. And then a whole bunch of other countries decided, hey US, we want to get our gold back too. So Germany climbed on the bandwagon. And eventually Nixon closed the gold window and said, nope, that's it. We're shutting it down. And you can't exchange American dollars for our gold anymore. And they made a deal with Saudi Arabia, and the petrodollar was born. And that's what we've been riding on for the last, I don't know, almost 50 years. And recently, Saudi Arabia decided that it no longer wants to, you know, back the American dollar with its oil. It's decided that any country's money is good to purchase their oil from them, which is fine. It's their oil. They get to say what they want with it. And personally, that's like one of the big things that we're holding up and propping up the United States dollar. Now, I hear all the time about how the U.S. has like 60% of the reserve world currency status and how it's diminished. And yeah, I will 100% agree with world currency status. People holding dollars, yeah, it's down to 60%. But if you look at world trade, still 88 to 90% of all world trade is done across the SWIFT network, and all buying and selling is done through the SWIFT network. Now, I do believe the US dollar will collapse. When? I can't tell you that. Is it going to be quick? Is it going to be slow? I don't rightly know. But before that happens, the US's share of actual SWIFT payments has to drop. So until the global currency starts to change to something, be it yuan, be it a digital-backed cryptocurrency backed by gold, or anything else, the US dollar's dominance in SWIFT transaction payments needs to drop from like 88 to 90% and down. Now, the US did block Russia, but Russia is just a small, tiny little piece of the SWIFT system. And most of the money, the fiat that's spent is between the United States and China and the European Union and South America, Australia, Canada. These countries have large amounts of holdings, and yes, maybe they are selling them off, but they still need that SWIFT system to transfer the money. And I don't see anybody going, hey, China, Yeah, like I'm talking Western countries, okay? Now, BRICS nations, like do you trust China with your money? Do you trust Russia with your money? Do you trust Venezuela? Do you trust Iran with your fiat money? Or do you trust the U.S.? Yeah, you know what? It does abuse it. But what country has a better track record than the United States? And let's be real here. No one. No one really at this moment wants to start going, yeah, I want some of them Chinese yuan paper bills. And the reason why they don't really want them is because here in Canada, I can't just go to the grocery store and go, hey, I got some yuan. Can I buy a loaf of bread with my yuan? They'll look at me in Metro or in Walmart and they'll go, no, we are not taking that. But if I go there with an American greenback, they will 100% take that dollar. Why? Because the U.S. paper money is still number one, aside from the Canadian currency, in Canada. There is nothing that even comes close to it. All of our border towns and border cities trade in it. So you need to hold a certain amount of your fiat, in American dollars, okay? I strongly recommend a great portfolio with constitutional heritage silver, gold, silver, gold chain, silver chain, whatever you can get, because eventually the rooster is going to come home to roost, and the American dollar, well, that'll be it. Whether it's a quick flash crash where we go from what we are now to the US dollar being like 10% of its value or something, I don't know if that's going to happen quickly. But if it does, you got to be ready for it. And if it doesn't, well, you also got to be equally ready to keep making money in the current system. So you still got to trade your labor for the dollar. You still got to buy in the dollar, and you still got to transact and do all of your day-to-day banking in your country's dollar or the dollar. So my advice to you, and I am not a financial advisor, I'm just a guy sitting by a river just giving some information out that I believe is the right answer for me. And maybe that's not for you, and I strongly suggest you do your own research and your own due diligence, and you look into things before you make a choice. But for me, I try to hold about 70% of all of my savings, and what I mean by savings is stuff that I'm not going to spend tomorrow, in gold and silver. I keep 30% in paper fiat. Now, I also have investments in real estate. Like, I own my own home, I have no debt on it, and I own a couple of small properties, all outright. I have no debt on them, and I have no credit card balances. I've paid all that off. Why? Because I need to be separate from the system. I need to be my own bank. But you should hold what you feel comfortable with, and I mean you because I can't tell you, but you should hold what you think is best for yourself. And me, I've been stacking since 2001, and I have seen great returns on all of my precious metal that I have bought in the more than 3 or 4 years ago. Like, exponential growth. The stuff I've been buying lately, it's a bit pricey, but I'm still buying. I'm still buying silver at $38 to $40 an ounce for generics and whatever national coinage that I can find, be it a Philharmonics or a new King Chuckles Britannia or a Canadian Maple or an Eagle. I buy it. If it's a generic round and it gives me a good deal, great. Thumbs up on the generic stuff. Even if it's bars, I'm stacked to the point now where I've got enough heritage and constitutional silver that I don't need more. I want more if I can get a good price on it, but I don't need it today. Now, bars for me, I've got a fair amount of maples and other coins that are good at an upsized amount, so I'm good with that. I've also got 2 ounce, and I've got 5 ounce, and I've got some 10s. I started stacking more for myself because of the price in kilo bars, 10 ounce and kilo bars. That for me is where I want to be, and I want it all in generic. Give me those low premium generics. And for you that might not work. Maybe you can't afford to go and dump $200 or $400 on a bar. and you need something. So my recommendation to you is to make a friend. Go to your coin dealer, have coffee at the shop, hang out, spend time with your coin dealer or your local pawn shop that collects in that stuff. Because if you say to them, hey, I really want some Constitutional or Heritage silver, what overface will you give it to me for? And maybe you can negotiate with them before it comes into the store, and then you can be the one to get it instead of someone else that walks in, because you're more like a friend to the coin dealer. Like myself, I've got my bullion guy down in Hull and Gatineau. I got Saul. I've got my Constitutional guy I started dealing with down in Ottawa named Nick. I will include all of their information in the description of the video. But I also got another fella that I deal with outside of the Ottawa area. He runs a pawn shop. He's a really good guy, and he calls me up if he's got gold chain he wants to part ways with. And I get that chain at under spot. I get it, 20 or 30 under. And for me, it's a little bit, pricey for like weight, but chain always sells for slightly more. He wants a quick turnover. I want something I can stack. And to be honest, I can figure out how to make probably a bar. I could probably go and I could probably buy myself a little setup, and I could probably figure it out if I needed to. And a great content creator that I've watched lots of, Silver Dragons, he does it quite often. He does pour videos and stuff, and I've watched and I've learned quite a bit from his channel. And to be honest, I've stacked all this chain, this silver chain and this gold chain. Someday I might melt some of it down, and I might try my hand at maybe pouring something, like why the heck not? What's the worst thing that happens? I've got a blob of gold that's still worth something, and I learned something. So for me today, my advice to you is to stack hard, stack high, and keep your powder dry. Keep that fiat loaded for a pullback. You want to make sure you can monopolize on what I think is coming up in the month of May Madness. I'm going to call it May Madness. This pullback, I think is going to be pretty good. When the Fed announces a rate hike, I think we're going to see a dip. We're going to see it go down. It might not be that day, but I figure that week after the Fed announcement, we'll start seeing silver drop if it's 25%. If it's zero, I think we see silver and gold start going up. And if it because that's like basically, hey, we give up. We can't beat and we cannot slay the inflation monster. So for the U.S. and Jerome Powell, this May is a do or die moment to prove to the market, do you have that Volcker moment in you, or are you gonna choke? Are you gonna give us that 25% up, or are you gonna be more like, there's another bank collapse and there's another few banks collapsing. If I push that red button, if I tap it, the banks might just go, and pop for them, and it might save the banking system to stall right now. And he could say, I'm going to pause this month. I'm going to pause right now this month. We're going to do it for 30 days, and then we'll go back to hiking. And you'll see the stock market rally because they'll think that Jerome's given up. 25% base hike. I see gold and silver going down. 25% rate drop. I see gold and silver staying stable, maybe going up a little bit. But we got to remember, when we enter a recession, if you look at the previous ones, every recession, gold and silver responded pretty much similarly. They go up a tiny little bit, and then they take a dip. So I'm watching for that dip now. I'm waiting for that information to come out that I need to see and I need to hear, and then I need to see that pullback. And then that's when I take all that extra powder that I've got, stacked away, and I push it in. I push like 60, 70% in, and I try to buy, it on the way down and scoop it up. I don't know where the bottom is. I don't know where the top is, but all I know is I'm ready to ride this train, and I'm hoping that this content that I'm creating will help you prepare to ride the train, the gravy train to success. Stacking success. We all want to turn our fiat into more ounces. We all want to be prosperous, and above all else, we want to make sure that our financial sovereignty, our personal sovereignty, is our own, and we don't allow someone else to look after us. Because unlike 99% of people in this Western society, you, my fellow stackers, are the smart ones. You understand real value and real money and real wealth. And in the Bible it states, the meek will be blessed. And who is more meek than a precious metals stacker? We have waited for a reversal and change for decades. And if there isn't somebody that's more patient than a stacker, could you point them out to me? Because we're all waiting for that moment that happens throughout history where government realizes that they've got to the end of the printer paper and now it's worth more as toilet paper than it is worth as fiat. So with that said, I really appreciate you coming out today. If you could click like, if you could click share, and if you're not, could you please subscribe? That helps get the algorithm woke up, and it makes it so that more people can view this content. And if you like this content, I'm sure there are other people who would like this content. And I think waking everybody up right now is the most important thing we can do, because the more people that join the party, the better it will be for all silver stackers and prepared, like-minded people. So with that, Canadian Stacker is going to go out and have yourself a good day, okay? Bye.